We're going to start with the outlines of our source image onto our grid drawing. Now, some people like to start in the top left-hand corner and move their way down to the bottom right-hand corner, kind of going one square at a time. I actually prefer to start with what I think is easiest and then move to the more difficult pieces. Whatever you choose is fine with me as long as you are somewhat methodical about it, so you kind of pick a strategy and use it consistently. So, like I said, I like to start easy and kind of work my way more difficult. So I'm going to start with the shape of this shirt simply because I think it's going to be easy for me to kind of get a general outline of this body. So I'm going to actually make this match quick. That'll make it easier for me. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now these two match. So I'm going to kind of remind you here, you want to work lightly. You want to make sure that you are working light enough and you kind of get it right before you put a lot of pressure down. Also keep in mind that we're going to be adding value or shading to this drawing. So the lines that you put on here are just for like general layout purposes, and they're not necessarily going to be permanent unless it's something like, you know, these circles or the rims of the glasses and stuff like that. So I'm going to start in box number 4 here, 4A. So I am just going to pay attention to where this shape kind of touches the edge and touches the edge here. So here where it intersects the next box, it's a little over halfway. So I'm just going to kind of pay attention to that general shape or outline. And it's going to come up here. And then the next box, this maybe is a little too high. There we go. The next box, it kind of dips in a little bit and then it goes up a little bit more. About halfway through this box is the side of her face. And then there's a line here, and you can see the way that I work. I like to kind of work where one line, I'll just continue one line until it intersects with another line. So that's kind of what you'll see me doing here. So then her shirt touches here almost in the middle of this box. So that's going to be this one right here. So I can see the middle of the box here. And I can just kind of come up and around. And then I'm going to use that line. I'm going to continue that line down. And you can, like I said, you can go in whatever way you want. Whether you work one box at a time or general shapes. But like I said, I like to kind of move line by line. Now this is a really easy one because you can see right here her shirt runs right where these two boxes intersect, which makes it really easy for me to find on this one. So I'm just going to kind of scoop that around, and then I'm going to follow it over here, and the scoop of her collar comes upwards. Now I'm over here. Oh, over here I went too high, so I can just erase that. And if you work light enough, you can just erase, and then you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so now I am, where am I? Oh, I'm right here. Okay, so this I think actually comes in more and then comes up. So I'm just really paying attention to where the lines are actually placed on my grid. And you will hear me say this a million times over. You need to draw what you see and not what you think you see. So the number one issue that I see with kids who struggle with drawing, they say, oh, this doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like the picture. You need to be sure that you are drawing what you see and not what you think it's supposed to look like. So I know what my grandma looks like. It's been It's been a while since I've seen her because unfortunately she passed away a couple years ago, but I know in my head what my grandma looks like. This picture, though, is what I'm trying to draw. So what I'm remembering is maybe slightly different than this picture. Same thing with any object. Like, I know what my iPhone looks like, but unless I'm looking directly at that phone, it's really difficult to see exactly what it's supposed to look like. So your brain can kind of trick you in that way. So you always want to make sure that you are drawing what you are actually looking at on your source image and not what you think your photo is supposed to look like. So now I am over here drawing those little lines. So I've got the outline of her shirt, I've got the scoop of the collar, I've got the outline on this side. Now you will notice that I, Mrs. McFadden, am a little bit of a reluctant drawer. I am not super confident in my abilities at all times, and that is okay. I want you guys to know it's okay to feel like you're not good at drawing right now. This is a skill builder. It's good for you to get practice, and it's a good tool, learning how to use this grid to really see what you're drawing and to draw it accurately. So now I'm going to move into the face. All right, so in the face, I've moved my camera a little bit closer so you guys can see. This square right here is this square with the nose. So I did teach you guys that you could break up these squares. If you want to be really accurate, and this is most helpful when you can do it with a ruler, but you can basically divide these squares in half if you need to. Again, I'm doing this super lightly with a pencil. You can basically divide these squares in half so you have more of a guide. So I'm gonna actually start with her glasses. So I can see where about, like proportionately, where these glasses hit each of these lines. So this right here, this is only about the tip of my lid. And this might be hard to see on the video, but this is a good way to measure. So if this is about the tip of my lid here, from this grid line to her glasses, on my drawing, it's going to be 2 tips of my lid. So remember, we're taking everything from this, this source image, and we are doubling it. Okay, so we're doubling it. So I'm just going to kind of pay attention here. And I can see I am doing this a lot quicker than you guys probably will, and that's because I have had some practice with this grid technique. But don't stress if it's taking you a little bit longer to lay out these boxes. You want to make sure you get this step right before we dive in with shading. So I'm constantly checking myself. I'm taking my eye on this shape and I'm following it and moving my pencil with it. And I'm constantly asking myself, Mrs. McFadden, are you drawing what you think this pair of glasses is supposed to look like? Or are you drawing what you actually see on the paper? And I caught myself over here drawing what I think I was supposed to look, what they were supposed to look like. So just constantly check yourself. Are you actually drawing what you see, or are you drawing what you think it's supposed to look like? So I actually think this glasses, I'm gonna have to end up moving this part of the glasses over, because if you look here, I'm gonna use my lead to measure again. So from the end of my pencil to where my thumbnail is, that's how much of this glasses is on this one. So that means 1, 2, those glasses really are, they're over here a little bit more. So I just need to double check myself, and I might need to kind of readjust here. I also think they probably don't come down so far. And you could use a ruler if you want to be really fine-tuned about this. Like if you really want to pay really close attention, you could use a ruler to help you lay out your proportions. But I'm just going to kind of eyeball it for now. So there we go. That looks a little bit better. Okay, so that's a little bit closer. So now I'm going to go to the eyepiece here, the bridge. Again, I'm double checking to make sure I'm actually drawing what I see. Now this piece, again, when it touches the line like that, it makes it really easy for me. So I can see that it touches right here. So then I can see that this kind of scoops up. And then it comes just below that little line that I made. I'm catching myself again. I'm drawing what I think these glasses are supposed to look like and not what I actually see on here. Now, I do need to pay close attention to this once I get this one done, because there's a little bit of a balance here. So yes, I need to draw what I see here, but also I know this pair of glasses, they're symmetrical. These two shapes right here do not look the same. So I need to go ahead and just tweak these two to make sure that they match. I think I can start by saying this shape right here needs to be more rounded to match what I'm actually seeing in the photograph. So that's one place that I would kind of start to look. I think that this probably is still down a little bit too far, and I actually think it's too wide. So I would kind of get rid of a little bit there, and this is why it's so important to draw really light so that you can keep going until you get it just right. So this isn't still perfect. This isn't perfect quite yet, but I'm gonna keep going. So next I'm gonna kind of work in the nose, and when it comes time to add value or shading to these projects, I am gonna try to get you guys some resources on drawing facial features, because it is certainly not an easy task. So we will practice adding value to these facial features before we kind of dive in on the final product here. So again, draw light. I need you to make sure you draw what you actually see on the paper. And again, guys, this is a tool that we're gonna practice. This is not gonna feel easy for some of you who have never done this before in the first couple boxes. It's gonna take a little bit until it feels more natural for you. Also, please don't judge this too heavily until we start adding value, because yes, this nose is going to look a little bit like a pig nose, but once I put value in here and shading, it is going to be much, much better, but it's going to take a little bit for it to get there. Because we don't actually have these shapes on our faces. I mean, our noses don't look like this, right? They clearly look like this in the source image. So it takes a little bit for us to get there. So again, you're gonna see me kind of jumping around. If I'm being completely honest, the reason I jump around so much is because I am just not a confident drawer, and I like to save my hard pieces for last.